So, hello, welcome to another edition of the Digital Strategies Group webinar from Searchmetrics. This time we are speaking about e-commerce, all about e-commerce and all about finding the right niche in order to fight against the big unicorns such as Amazon, AliExpress and eBay.
Exactly. Good afternoon or good morning from my side as well. Welcome to our webinar.
So just a quick how-to. In the next week, you will receive an email with a link to the recording of this webinar. At the edge of the screen, you'll find the audience console. Look for something which is called audience console. If you have any technical problems, press the button which you see there with a question mark. With Q&A, question answer, you can ask your questions directly to us as speakers. So whenever there's something popping up, just put it into the chat and we will try to answer the questions after this webinar. Use the small icons at the top of the presentation to move, shrink, or enlarge the presentation. All the speaker bio, you can directly contact our speakers. So
us.
This will be you and me.
Exactly.
In the knowledge base, you can find more information on the Digital Strategies Group and the Searchmetrics Black Belt in November. And if you do not see the presentation, try updating your browser first. Also in the knowledge base, you'll find some additional links, which we will go into detail during this webinar later on. So let's start with this. So
this is our series dedicated to digital disruption. We also had part one called From Dinosaur to Unicorn that is recorded and published on our Searchmetrics YouTube channel. So if you missed it, you still have a chance to see our first webinar from this series. And now we are welcoming you to the second one, which is called How to Win the E-Commerce Battle.
Yes, and there will be a third part where you can register yourself already. It's all about display advertising for publishers is dead, and 5 new ways of turning content into revenue. My name is Björn. I'm the Director of Digital Strategies Group here at Searchmetrics.
And my name is Svetlana Stankovic. I'm team lead of SEO consulting of Digital Strategies Group within Searchmetrics as well.
And the Searchmetrics Digital Strategies Group is an integrated consultancy here at Searchmetrics. So we have a big team of content marketers, data scientists, SEO consultants, and overall digital marketers. And of course, with the help of our data we have within this software Searchmetrics, we are unlocking the mysteries of online performance since 2005 already. So the vision of the Searchmetrics Digital Strategies Group is to lead innovation in search on content. So we always try to hunt for new trends and be better than the competition. And the services we offer is, of course, consulting, SEO, technical SEO consulting, content services, and strategic consulting. Some of our clients you'll see here, but let's start with the current state of e-commerce.
Yeah, what is current state of e-commerce in Europe? When we look at the first number that we see on our screen, it looks really promising because it states that e-commerce turnover in Europe for the last year was 602 billion euros, which is pretty amazing. And for everyone who is focusing on online marketing or online business or starting e-commerce store, this looks really promising. And I think if we go to this discussion further, we will see that not only the numbers are large, they're growing each year.
Double digit.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you look at the growth rate compared to previous years, you can see that growth in e-commerce is steadily and it's happening every year. And we can predict that it will, of course, grow furthermore. But what is really interesting in this case that when we look at the state of e-commerce, there is one fact that we should be aware of, and this is that B2B businesses still didn't manage to enter e-commerce markets. So when we look at this growth rate, you can see that pretty much type of company who dominates the market is actually B2C, or companies that are dedicated to selling products to customers, not businesses.
Yeah, and it also shows clearly that there's still so many potential in e-commerce. Even if you decide now to go into the e-commerce field, build an online shop, whatsoever, there's still double-digit growth, which is, as I said, like a big potential.
Which is pretty much of a dream, especially when we look at our startup scene and think about all of the ideas for new businesses. We can see that e-commerce is one of the largest ideas for growth potential for a startup. And we can see also many freelancers focusing on affiliate marketing, which is related again to e-commerce, or drop shipping as a new way of also selling products online. So I think e-commerce is now really in the focus.
Yes. And of course, I mean, if you look at it from a global perspective, then of course you have like those big players. The amount of shipments and the amount of inventory, they actually win in all categories. And those are especially eBay, Amazon, and AliExpress. AliExpress is much more in the eastern part of the world. Amazon and eBay, especially in Europe and Northern America, very dominant. But also when we look at certain countries, such as the UK, then we see that we have like players sitting there. Of course, Amazon is leading in terms of revenue, but then we have like, Tesco, we have Argos, we have like John Lewis and, all the other shops as well. So some of them are, generalists like Amazon or John Lewis are more generalist online shops, but then we have some niche shops as well. I mean, Tesco's, for example, is much more into food and all that kind of stuff and shopping. But
I would say that e-commerce scene in UK looks really interesting because many of the stores stated in the top 10 are actually traditional e-commerce stores.
Yeah.
So not really new players on the market.
Yeah, like John Lewis or Marks and Spencer,
exactly.
Sainsbury's, Tesco's, all of them, they are like actually physical. Their origin is in physical stores, and they managed, to be in the top 10 list of online shops in the UK.
Which can lead us to conclusion that UK was really successful in doing digital transformation of traditional businesses regarding e-commerce. Yeah. I don't know if this is the case in Germany and in other European countries, but it looks also really promising. And maybe if you're listening to our webinar and you belong to some traditional retailer or traditional company in Germany, maybe this can encourage you to start digital transformation of your business as well.
Definitely. And if you look at those categories which are most popular for e-commerce, and this is actually very important if we think about building up a new online shop. If you want to find a niche somewhere, then you have like the most popular product categories. You have it here. It's of course like books, but then you are competing against, of course, Amazon and all the big booksellers. Clothing is one of the things. Consumer electronics. We have shoes. We have household, kitchen, furniture, toys, etc. pp. So within all of this, still double-digit, value of product categories, you can find a specific niche because they are most popular. And by the way, you can also go to Amazon, which has a page which is the the most popular or best-selling articles on Amazon per category or per product category, and you can actually find a good idea what to sell and what to build in terms of an e-commerce shop.
I also would like to add that when we look at numbers, what is dominating is entertainment market, because 47% belongs to not only books, but also games and other things related to entertainment industry. And based on this study of categories, we can see that the least dominant market is food industry, that only shows 4% of popularity.
But it's very hyped.
Yeah, but I think food market and especially, as I said, traditional retailers will have their digital transformation within the next years, especially as B2B.
Yeah. Have you ever bought something at Amazon Fresh?
No, I must admit no. And
no?
You?
No, never. But I let deliver my shopping from, there's a German shopping market, it's called Rewe. That's quite good. But I never tried Amazon shopping. Maybe you tried. You can put your experience with Amazon shopping in the chat.
Yeah, it would be great if you want to share any feedback with us regarding traditional companies who switch to e-commerce. So if you ever bought something from Amazon Fresh or any other retailer, maybe you can tell us your experience.
Yeah, not a new stat, but quite interesting, especially if you do e-commerce, is that 70% do online research before purchasing, especially when they do a major purchase, which is like more than 100 pounds. And this is very interesting because if we look at the traditional sales funnel, we see that we have these different stages: awareness, consideration, transaction, and customer relationship. And most of the e-commerce shops, is what we see from clients, is what we see when we do market research, just happen to be in the transaction area. So everything they have on their website built, content-wise, category-wise, whatsoever, the keyword targeting is just going after transactions. And as you see here from the different volumes, it's actually a big mistake, because if you really want to be in a full customer journey, then you need to start in the awareness phase where you have much more search volume, much more demand, and actually you can get much more traffic and conversions out of it. And
yeah, maybe we should back to the previous slide, just to show them once again. So when 70% of people are doing online research before purchasing, and you're not targeting these people. And when you see that second number shows that customer reviews on the internet are really helpful and that people want to see an item before they buy it, you are missing a large portion of market and audience if you are just targeting transactions, as you described.
Especially, and you see that from the second step, customer reviews on the internet are very helpful. I mean, this is something where you can build a forum or on the blog or whatsoever, or you build customer reviews on your website, just as Amazon did, so that people can really make their thoughts. And
we also had a really good webinar with our colleague Felix regarding targeting sales funnel and different stages. And we also showed during this webinar, you can also find it in YouTube. We showed on this webinar that in UK market regarding mobile industry, which was the case that we used, a lot of large portion of traffic actually goes to comparison websites. Yeah. And none of the mobile providers used their website to show comparison pages between different mobiles or different packages.
Yeah, we had the other day, we had a discussion with a company who does antivirus software. And same there, like they were just happening in the transaction phase, but people really wanted to find information about comparison, about different, about different softwares, as well as what is the specific virus actually doing? What's the characteristic of this? And there is no information. You have some blogs and you have some tech magazines who are actually focusing and targeting those content, but those companies, they don't do it. And this is, as we see from the sales funnel here, is actually a big mistake, because you're missing a lot of demand and a lot of volume.
And I love this example about antivirus, because if you convince us with your knowledge regarding protection and data security, then there is probably much higher opportunity that we will purchase from your website, right?
Definitely.
Especially with the topic like that.
Yeah. But let's have a look at companies who fail to be successful in e-commerce. And all of you might know this example, but Toys R Us, as you know, it's a traditional, physical store company selling toys, founded in 1948, went bankrupt in 2018, so just last year. And, what they did is actually quite, it's quite obvious that they must have failed, because, in 1999, they got a lot of funding, because what happened is they were one of the single, stores where you can buy toys online. So what happened was that during the Christmas holidays in '99, a lot of people ordered at Toys R Us, and they couldn't manage to send out the gifts on point and on time as Christmas to Christmas, because the demand was so large and they had purely no logistics to handle all this amount of orders. So what happened is that they had to pay a fee because actually the UK government gave them a fee because they didn't deliver, etc. pp. But what happened is some years later is that what they did is they got into a contract with Amazon, and they were outsourcing actually the whole Toys R Us toy selling over Amazon. They had a 10-year agreement. 10 years, you have to think about it. They had a 10-year agreement just exclusively to sell toys on Amazon and give up their authority on their own website. And what happened is that Amazon actually, went quite well, was super successful, overachieved all the goals. And at the end of the day, Amazon wanted more, and they actually, because Toys R Us doesn't want it to do what Amazon told them, they got different other toy sellers as well on the page, and they of course they paid for advertising so that they got better placement and stuff like that. So it was a really shitty agreement with Toys R Us and Amazon. Toys R Us got out of the agreement and then decided, okay, now we need to do relaunch. We need to really ramp up. And then there was the CTO, Lance Williams, who I'd like to quote, because he said when they did the relaunch, first of all, they need to reduce the checkout steps from 5 steps to 2 steps. Imagine that, 5 steps to 2 steps, conversion killer. And he said what they actually need to do is to ramp up within 1 or 2 years, 10 years of innovation. So it was actually a big fail. And then they got bought by KKR and another investment firm for more than some $1 billion. I think it was, I have it written down here somewhere, $7.5 billion. And what the investors did, they did all this debt put on the company, which broke their neck. And because they didn't innovate, they outsourced everything. People went to Walmart, people went to Amazon because the toys were much cheaper there. They didn't make any profit since 2013, and that's what they made them actually bankrupt. So lack of innovation, not focusing on online, and actually have no idea and vision what to do with this digital transformation stuff is what broke them broke their necks. And in the UK, in the US, there's no Toys R Us anymore. In Germany, we still have some stores because there's another company who just bought the stores and the inventory. But that's actually
I really like this story because I read an article while preparing for this webinar, and a really interesting topic about e-commerce failures. And what writer suggested in his article is that there will be a time in your e-commerce business where you will need to fail. And when you fail, they suggest that you should fail fast and learn from it. Mm-hmm. And I think this story definitely describes that their failure was over years, but they missed the chance to analyze what happened and to change it.
Yeah.
Because when you start selling on Amazon and you see that the pricing model doesn't fit your business model, you need to act fast.
Yeah, definitely.
And acting fast, actually, failures are not the wrong thing that can happen. From failures, you can learn a lot and you can get a lot of insights about the business.
Yeah, and giving up your digital e-commerce expertise, giving it completely up, and giving everything to Amazon or any other second party is it's like moving giving your brain. I give you my brain, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, but you need to trust me on that. So I have another story about really interesting failure. Actually, e-commerce, design-focused e-commerce store named Fab was one of the most successful unicorns in the startup industry of Silicon Valley a couple of years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago. And what actually happened is that, let's see the ending picture. They were valued $900 million 3 months before it disappeared from the market. Mm-hmm. So the story goes like this. In 2011, there is a guy called Jason Goldberg, who had really interesting background because he was working in White House, doing support of staff management of Bill Clinton. So he had a lot of influence in political markets, and he also already entered startup markets, and he had some smaller successful startups. So he decided to build really unique niche-oriented markets related to fashion and design items. What they actually did, and it caught a lot of attention from venture capitalists, they started buying unique design products and using a model called fast sell model. So they would find really interesting, unique pieces in designer stores all around the world. They would put it on the website, and they would have a specific time within which you can buy this product for smaller price than usual.
Flash sales.
Flash sales, yeah. Exactly. So flash sales was really, really popular. And even before they launched their website with word of mouth marketing, they gained around 45K subscribers. So this was really hype. And also, as I said, they got around $330 million of investment. And not only venture capitalists invested in this company, also celebrities, for example, like Ashton Kutcher, invested a lot of money, believing that this is something really powerful. Then the company, of course, started gaining a lot of profit. In the first year, they gained around $100 million and became really successful, having around 14 million users. So it became, as I said, one of the unicorns and one of the most successful startups. And then they made some moves that costed their business. First move that was completely wrong is while growing, they decided to expand to European market, and they invested a lot of money to open offices and to open warehouses in Europe without analyzing the market and without learning anything about the European market whatsoever. So they just entered it without knowing what's going on, how consumers react, how they react to this. And then the second wrong step they did is the appetite of Mr. Goldberg, because he wanted to build something huge. This was his idea from the beginning.
He wanted to actually overtake Amazon, right?
He wanted to overtake Amazon, yeah. So from niche design-oriented store, he started adding food products and also different appliances and different products into their website. And in the end, they confused buyers and sellers. And they also invested in warehouses. So they wanted to sell these products directly to customers. And the major failure was that delivery time, at the moment, the store was on the top of performance, was on average 16.5 days. So if I order Designs product, this is the story like Toys R Us. If I order Designs product, for example, for Christmas or something, I needed to wait almost 17 days for delivery. And this was a complete failure.
Yeah. And actually, what they lost was the USP, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like
they lost their uniqueness and the sense of brand, because in the end, no one understood what's going on.
Nice products, flash sales, special discounts, and it's kind of a gamification as well, because you're so excited about getting this thing within a certain time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite marketers and writers called Seth Godin. He wrote many different books about new era of marketing. And what he says is that you definitely need to find your niche. And your niche can be so tiny and small, but you can also earn millions and build great business around tiny niche. But if you already found tiny niche and you start expanding it to everything, your appetite grows, but your niche is disappearing. And this is maybe also a suggestion for someone who is now in the process of creating a new e-commerce store. Focus on niche, focus on something that is your USP. Don't compete with the major competitors in the industry, because you will never outbeat Amazon. You will never outbeat AliExpress. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. So let's have a look at the big unicorns, actually. So you all know them. It's eBay, the auction site, which is, not only selling used stuff now, but new stuff as well. Amazon and, AliExpress. So what makes them so goddamn sexy? And, we were actually looking at it. And if you just put it into a nutshell, then it's like the overall shopping experience. And this is because they're focusing on product. I mean, they have teams sitting there and innovating, building products, be it the home. So they consider their homepage as one product. They consider their product detail page as one product. They're considering their category pages as one product. And that's how they treat them. So there's a product owner for each product, and they trying to innovate and trying to ramp up and trying to actually, be better than the competition. So that the overall shopping experience for us as an, user is so, it's so uncomplicated. It's so easy to find stuff. It's so easy to, buy stuff and to pay. And, it's actually the focus on the product is what I would say.
Yeah, I would say if you're starting e-commerce business or you work in e-commerce company, take this slide and print it out and put it somewhere on a visible place. Because I think this is the most important slide. Frame our slide. Yeah, exactly. Because I think this is the most important one. And these are the steps you need to follow if you want to go through digital transformation and to spot where are the gaps within your industry or within your website or your company, and what you need to fix and where your focus should be.
Yeah, and then we have, of course, inventory. If you go to a shop and, it can be a niche site, it can be a generalist site, whatsoever. What makes Amazon so goddamn good is that you can find every single piece. Whatever you want to have, you find it on Amazon. If you go to Rolando, the fashion shop on here, they have 250,000 items on the web shop. It's nearly impossible not to find what you're looking for, and it's nearly impossible to get inspiration, because they have just such a great.
And with inventory, you can also lose the trust in the brand, because I had experience trying to buy furniture via several e-commerce shops. And what happened to me on several of them is that while I was searching for a specific product, I got tons of pictures and products listed, but each time when I clicked, it stated that the product is not available. Do you think I will go to this store again? No, because you lose your trust. Yeah. Why would you trust a company that doesn't have inventory at all?
And then payment. I mean, make it easy for people to pay, and it can be, if you pay with Apple Pay, PayPal, it's not standard, not in Germany at least, it's not standard for every e-commerce shop that you can pay with PayPal. Or if you pay with credit card, people are, putting an extra fee on it so that you have to pay additional €5 or something just to pay with credit cards. Or there's so many people who try to invent their own payment system as well, rather than going with what's already there. PayPal is so easy, Apple Pay is so easy, credit card, or even invoice. It's so easy to, Zalando is an amazing example, because you can, buy shitloads of fashion, get it delivered at home, buy it per invoice, and everything you don't want to wear, you just send back and then pay the rest amount of the invoice. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Yeah, we go to the next one that says delivery and retour. And this is the one I really like, because I usually would buy fashion items online and also entertainment items like books and games and different things. What I like with fashion items in Germany, and I think the services are really, really great, is when you buy a clothing item, you get it packaged with an option for return. And sometimes it happened that I didn't like something that I bought, because on pictures, of course, it looks nicer than when they sent it out to me. But I was able to get it back right away, not to pay any costs for shipping back. And also my money was returned within a few days. And I think this is great customer service. If you don't have it and you have a fashion shop, you're competing with many different companies. And I was buying from Zalando, from Mango, from Zara, from different brands, and they all had the same thing. They all offered same delivery and return service. And
there are so small details, like if you get a package or a parcel from Zalando, they have already included a sticky stripe, which you can use to,
to pack it back.
To pack it back. Yeah. And you don't even need to go to a kiosk or to the post shop. You just call or write them an email or whatsoever, and they come and pick it up.
Exactly.
How convenient is that?
This is amazing.
And then, I return back to your Fab example. If you haven't used P,
fabulous example.
Fabulous example. If you haven't used P, like this flash sale, thing with special discount. And this is something, and USP and like design stuff. It's a USP where people like to come, and that's a reason for people to come. And if you don't have a USP and just try to be as Amazon or just try to be as, you know, every generalist, then you don't have a USP if you don't have something special.
Yeah, if you don't propose or unique sales proposal for anyone who doesn't understand what is USP, if you don't have anything unique within your shop, then maybe you should focus on writing unique descriptions for products. Because even if products are completely boring, you can make the whole story out of it. Just look at the example of IKEA. When you go to their online website, they always have really entertaining and interesting product descriptions, beautiful photos.
Yeah.
So even from something that is really, really simple, like wooden chair, they can make the whole story out of it. So even if you sell something that is really ordinary thing or food, you still can make your USP through the tone of voice you're using or the story you are telling.
Definitely. And last but not least, it's cross-border. So it's much more common, you know, to buy stuff in other countries and make it easy to, you know, get it delivered over cross borders. I remember because I lived in Switzerland, it was super, super hard to buy stuff in Germany or in the UK or where you are. And it's so complicated because you have to pay extra fees just that it gets through the, what do you call it?
Border control.
The border controls, you know, that tax reasons and all that kind of stuff. Super complicated. And if you, as a company or an e-commerce shop sitting in such a country and you manage to do this cross-border thing right, then it's super easy for people to buy stuff elsewhere.
Internationally. I don't know what is the case with AliExpress, but I remember I never bought anything, I must admit, through AliExpress, but I have friends and, of course, close people who were buying things from there. And I know delivery was also horrible.
Yeah.
Which is, for example, something, of course, you were ordering from Asia, but which is something that AliExpress, especially if they want to expand to Western market where they have huge competitors like Amazon and eBay, they should think about shortening this delivery time, because I think delivery time was something around 3 weeks to 1 month.
Despite the fact that they have express in the name?
Yeah, they're not that express in Western world.
Okay, but let's get some meat to the bone. So what can you actually do if you are sitting, you know, you're not sitting in the marketing team of, physical store retailer and you want to build your e-commerce shop and or you just want to optimize your existing e-commerce shop because you see the KPIs are not going in the direction you are actually thinking about. So what can you do? First of all, be goddamn sexy. So
print and frame our slides.
Everything which we just told is this standard status quo in the e-commerce field. So you at least need to have this, and then as we said in the beginning, find one category, so one niche, and then lead it. And let's go back to the example of Rolando. For those of you who remember, Zalando started in 2008, at least in Germany in 2008, I think in the UK a bit later, 2010 or so, started as a pure online shoe shop. They even have it here in the logo, Zalando, the online shoe shop. So they started to be an online shoe shop. And I don't know if you remember all of their TV ads. So what made them so good, got them successful, was that they invested a lot of money into branding. You remember this, you know, parcels got delivered to women and women started to scream when they unpacked actually the parcel. So
that's really smart, because I believe in the year when they started, 2008, probably a lot of their potential customers were still offline, searching for shoes and fashion items offline, and switching them from TV ads directly to online was a really smart move.
Yeah, and their USP, like they were one of the first one who said, okay, it's free delivery, free return, and you can return it within 30 days or so.
I think we didn't mention it in our Be Sexy slide. We didn't mention actually a concrete topic of free delivery, because I think many shops still in Germany and worldwide in Western countries pay shipping.
So that you have to pay for shipping?
You have to pay for shipping, yeah.
I'm not ordering it.
Me neither, never. When I see that I need to pay for shipping, I just go to another website.
Yeah. But yeah, what makes them so good, so successful? What was their go-to-market strategy? And they focus heavily on branding. So they invested a lot of money. I just found a figure from 2016, which was already 37 million into TV spend. I mean, it's a magnitude number. And then, of course, an acquisition. And they focus heavily on SEO and content. And when I worked for an e-commerce shop and we competed in the fashion category as well, Zalando, even just started, was always on position #1 for the main keywords like shoes or jeans or what you have.
And they still are.
And they still are. They still are. And I don't know if you know this dear guy, his name is Norman Nielsen. He was the head of SEO and head of content marketing at Zalando. I don't know if you know that Zalando let go more than 240 people in the marketing department because they're now focusing on automation and artificial intelligence for the marketing. But he gave a quote in 2012, what makes them so successful. And he said that you need to concentrate on user-centric content, well-done content marketing, and link-worthy content. So all about content. And if you see, and he also said it's not rocket science. It's hard work in different fields. And he's completely right. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, you need to have a strategy, but then you need to really execute. And this is really hard work. Like working with content is really hard work. But
this is exactly how we do it in Digital Strategies Group. We don't focus on one thing and we don't have one solution. We try to analyze all aspects of businesses and find solutions on different levels that will lead to growth.
Yeah. And if you see on the right on the right side, the graph you see here, so the red line is their visibility growth over the years from 2008 to today, and the blue line is their revenue. And you see that, especially in the early years, there is some correlation, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, what is it? When he says very creative content marketing, and I just found one example. It's their yoga category, and I'm sorry, it's in German because I couldn't find an English example. But it's not about the text, written text. It's more about how it looks. So they wanted to improve the yoga category on the online shop. What they did is they created a whole how-to and a whole magazine around yoga. And you can see from here, it's a nice header, of course, but you always have a link on that side to the shop where you can switch between shop and the category. And if we go further down, then you see within the content, and they explain different yoga kinds. They always link to different accessories and different things you need to in order to do yoga. They also have some videos integrated where you can see how it's done. So different yoga practices. Again, some visual links as well, and with images. They put in some interviews with influencers. And again, here some links to the category. So really, really well done. And you find a link in the knowledge base where I did the case study. You need to translate it with the Google Chrome because it's in German, I'm sorry. But if you just translate this, that would be fine. And I did a case study when I was working in e-commerce, building a content hub, building exactly content like this, and then linked out of this relevant, super relevant content back to the platform. And you can see in this case study, look at the graphs, that the keyword positions are increasing significantly because it links from a relevant content and really well done content, which people like. And as far as I know, people told me from working at Zalando, this campaign was super, super successful.
Yeah, Rolando is really amazing case because they managed to create many different content hubs around landing pages. So to offer people to read about the topic and to learn more, not just to buy something and put, which is for me as someone who works in SEO industry, it's always something that irritates me a bit. Can I say it like that? Yeah. Because people use content just to rank, and then it's completely fake. It doesn't look convenient, and people are not interested to read it. But in this case, I love yoga, and I would be really interested to see videos, maybe of asanas practicing, or read about influencers or anything else before I decide to buy.
Yeah. But this example, plus the next example, shows us that you as an e-commerce player need to invest massively in content.
Next example, your favorite one.
My favorite one. Shall I go?
Yeah, you can for
So
sure.
my next example, it's an e-commerce shop out of Germany as well. It's not from Berlin. It's, by the way, it's from Düsseldorf. It's, you know, it's not very common to have like, you know, e-commerce shops in Düsseldorf. No, I don't know. I'm just making this up. But this one is from Düsseldorf. It's founded in 2012, so not so old actually. It's called Spring Lane, and Spring Lane is actually you know, an online shop for kitchen households. They have so far 60 employees. They have 2.5 million visitors on the site, and they make around 13 million in revenue. So what they did when they founded and started, they decided to have a shop and concentrate on building up a community, so heavily content related and content investment. So that was actually the idea, to have the shop, build up the community, and then try to trigger conversions out of the community to the shop. And we have this wonderful picture here of Thomas Hefke. He used to be the head of content marketing at Spring Lane at that time, and he was at one of our summits, Searchmetrics Summit, where he gave a talk about how they did it.
And this is also on YouTube. So if you're interested to know more about the story of Spring Lane, you can also find it on Searchmetrics YouTube website. Exactly. With other speakers from our best Searchmetrics summits.
Exactly, and he said, and you see that from the curve. So the first part was like where they tried a bit to play around with content. Like this is the start of Spring Lane, and then they tried to play around a bit with content. Then they built actually you know, a WordPress blog to have a content hub. And then they actually really started with the content marketing project, where they have like a really editorial, you know, calendar, you know, where they research, where they planned, etc. pp. And you see already from the growth of the visibility in that place that it really paid off. And he said that, you know, you need really to concentrate on some things, and their formula to success for building this amazing content marketing campaign was like to find your, like, you need to find your why. You need to find something you know, which is the purpose that you sell. And if you have that, you can go on and have an editorial mission. And their editorial mission, because they were selling kitchen household, was we fuel the passion of people to cook, or the passion for cooking, of people's passion to cooking. And this is an editorial mission. If they want to do it, then you know that you create content which inspires people actually to cook, right?
Yeah, they're selling the story. They're not just selling the product.
Exactly.
This is amazing. There is a whole story around the product, with recipes, with people who admire it, and so on. And then it's really easy, I think, for someone who loves cooking or enjoying reading and learning about food stuff. I know how much of influence, for example, KitchenAid made on me, just because I saw it in every food show on TV. It was just KitchenAid preparing cookies, preparing, I don't know, salty things and so on. And in the end, I wanted to have it, and it costs like crazy.
Yeah. But it also means that if you have those missions, that you need to concentrate on quality as well. And this is maybe the fourth point, that you need to build the right team. So if you want to concentrate on quality, and you want to concentrate on nice pictures, you need to have a designer, you need to have a photo guy or girl, you need to have like editors, you need to have SEOs, etc. pp. And that's what they did. They just built it, the entire team, to have all this and do all this amazing content. Of course, you need to know your target group, but everybody needs to know, and then build a content hub. That's what they did. So every e-commerce shop should actually have a content hub, be it a magazine or be it a blog. Something.
So Spring Lane, in a way, functions like a content marketing agency or a little publisher.
Exactly, yeah.
Rather than just reseller online.
Exactly, and it pays off. I mean, if you just look at their, what did I say, 2.5 million traffic, which they have per month, then you see that the majority, and I can't see the figure here, it's 70% is just coming from organic. So yeah. highly qualified traffic, people searching for, you know, how-tos, searching for recipes, searching for everything, get emotional, you know, inspired, get connected, and then all you need to do as Spring Lane, also an e-commerce, need to find the trigger and need to make them convert into your.
So rather than investing in PPC or paid marketing channels, you invest in people and get everything organically.
Exactamente. Okay, you want to go on?
Yeah, we can continue together. So what are the basics and how to get it right? First of all, we decided to split it in 4 pillars of e-commerce. First one is index control, second internal linking, then speed and mobile. This is something that is really important for us who work in online marketing consulting. And always when we work with websites, especially with e-commerce websites, we also have our ranking factor study that shows that in e-commerce, these 4 pillars are among the most relevant ones.
Yeah.
So let's start from index control. How does the structure of categories of your website look like? I found some interesting examples online how to confuse people in e-commerce. You have a fitness shop. This was my example. You have another one, Björn, here, but we can go through that one as well. You have a fitness shop and you sell water bottles. And if you want to buy a water bottle, you have it in every category. For example, running, walking, yoga, and so on. So you have same products on different categories all around the places. And if I want to see what kind of water bottles you have, I need to click on category walking, then go to accessories, then find water bottle. Or I need to go back to category running and click and so on. So basically you confuse me. In order to avoid this confusion, you need to have logical taxonomy of your website. So everything needs to start from a homepage. Then you need to determine by analyzing your audience and also your market, what are the most important categories on your website. Yeah. Because most important categories are not something that you think that would work. This is something that requires a strategic approach and analysis. When you do your analysis in a good way, and you also check if you want to target organic users, and from SEO perspective, you want to check what is the search volume, what is the amount of people that are searching something online on Google within 1 month, then you can find what are your main categories.
But also it's like that for Google, it's more, you need to make it easier for Google to understand the structure of your website. And that's what we mean also here, is that you build your taxonomy so that it's easy to crawl, easy to understand, and for Google easy to, read out.
Yeah, we are trying to avoid SEO terms. I said to myself, I will not mention it that much, but definitely Google functions in a way the humans function, so it needs connections to be able to go through your website and collect all of the data. If these connections are not set up properly, then of course you will not be able to show up on Google search results easily.
Yeah, and funny enough, it's like when you build an e-commerce shop or you want to concentrate on static categories, then you need to come up with the categorization of your website, right? And I remember when I used to work in a company, we built a new shop, and then there were interns actually got the task to come up with a category structure. What they did is they brainstormed, they had a lot of interviews with people in the company, and they built their own categorization. And it was okay, but it was not really perfect. And the thing is that Google already offers a full categorization for e-commerce, and there's another link in a knowledge base where you can go to that Excel file which you see here. But on the Merchant Center of Google, you can find a link to, or in terms of Excel or as a TXT file, where you can download the full categorization and then look what's appropriate, especially for your e-commerce shop. So you don't need to invent the wheel new, and this is already very logical and makes very much more sense than if you...
Yeah, if you're working on launching your website or redesigning it, make sure to read. We will have more examples of what to read and what things to use from Google's resources, but also make sure to read this one, as I said, especially if you're building or redesigning or migrating your website, and there is a chance that you can do recategorization and all the changes right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one that is also really SEO related, and this is be conscious about your filter URLs. Most of the time, e-commerce shops go big and they want to have everything indexed so people can find when they search for a specific product And then there is a lot of confusion because you get many different pages with exactly the same content showing up on Google and competing with each other, and it never performs well. Why? Because rather than just picking one main category and indexing it and hiding everything else from Google, like size of the shoes or color or something that is irrelevant, this also, of course, require search and analysis to see what is relevant, what is ranking, and what's not. But many of the filters are usually not ranking. What e-commerce shops do, they go big, and sometimes they don't have that much of a development / SEO knowledge, so they rank everything.
Yeah.
And then they end up with millions. I saw also e-commerce shops that have, for example, 1,000 products, but they have 5 million pages indexed in Google. Why? Because each and every product is showing in hundreds of cases with different sizes, different colors, different filters that are completely irrelevant for your user. But and then nothing is ranking and performing.
Yeah, but most of them, they don't know how to deal with it, right? And it totally makes sense to have all these filters because it's very user-friendly that a user can filter through different, colors and what you have. And what you can, in general, what you need to do is like to index all them. So don't make Google to index all those filter URLs because then you have a mess up. But if you do keyword research and you see that people are searching for specific color or specific size, specific material, then it makes sense that you do keyword research and then index just those particular filter things. And then, of course, this is one of the, the filter and this unique product is one of the most biggest failures, e-commerce shops do. And this is one example of a washing machine where you have the same product description on johnlewis.co.uk, whereas you have the same product description on eBay. And this is another thing, and this goes back to the beginning of the webinar. If you really want to win with certain products, then you need to, start with your top 25, products per season, where you write unique product description. Look at Amazon, look at IKEA, how they did it. It's an awesome product description strategy they have. And, most of the e-commerce shops, of course, they get the catalog data and they integrate the catalog data and then they never touch it again. But this is actually the wrong way.
Especially if you are reselling the product, don't copy it from manufacturer.
Yeah. If you can
avoid it, don't copy it. Yeah, the next one we will go through is internal linking. For those who don't know what is internal linking, that is linking between different pages of your website. So we as Searchmetrics, do ranking studies quite often to track specific ranking factors or specific causation within industry that is showing what is the most relevant for this industry. For e-commerce industry, one of the most relevant factors is number of internal links between the pages, which again makes much logic because you want to be able to switch from one page to another and also to give Google availability to switch from one page to another and to collect all of the information, so-called link juice.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not that you need to link whatever you have. It's
of course
that you need to link relevant. And let me just go quickly back to my yoga example from Rolando because they do it quite well, as you can see here. So they have always a link to the shop out of the relevant content. And again, they have like the links to some products. They have links to another page within the magazine. They have links to another product. But it's full of links, full of relevant links, and the user always triggered to click on it, which is from a user perspective good, and as well for Google good because he can or she, whatever Google is, he or she, what would you say?
I would say she.
Of course. Always the relevant, pages. So the third one is speed, and this is a topic we could do an own webinar out of it, but just to make sure that you're really focusing on. If you want to compete against other e-commerce shops, speed is one, and from my opinion, speed is one of the highest, most valuable SEO factors where you can win. If your product pages are loading faster than those from competitors, you already win. And these are some stats like Amazon already reported a 1% revenue increase for every 100 milliseconds, which is huge. Format as well, you can read this up.
I think if e-commerce website doesn't have good internal linking structure, and you need many links in order to buy a product, and if your speed is really low, this is a nightmare of e-commerce, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, then the last one is mobile.
Yeah, these figures are really interesting. The majority of e-commerce traffic goes to mobile devices. I must admit, myself, most of the time I buy from mobile, unless it's some really important product where I want to read description and to go throughout everything carefully. So 61% of all of the traffic comes from mobile devices to e-commerce shops. But when we look at the revenue that is generated via mobile, we can see that it's only 34.5%. And this is a huge light bubble for e-commerce shops that are watching us right now, because you have a lot of audience, but this audience is not converting. And there is something that you need to figure out how to convert it.
Yeah, and it's most of the time is really usability and, you know, the overall shopping experience, as we just refer to. Yeah,
I love shopping. For example, I love shopping on Amazon through mobile.
Yeah.
Because it is so super easy to find anything.
Yeah, and lucky you, because you know, I don't know if you follow this on Twitter, but there was just a kind of a leak or notification that Google, you know, is having their own playbooks, usability playbooks, and we have this one for you here. There's another link in the knowledge base where you can get into these playbooks for retail, where Google is actually giving recommendations how to build, you know, searches, how to, you know, what to put above the fold, etc. pp. How to make your mobile site actually usable. And I have a wonderful example again from our dear friend Rolando, and I just want to switch to my video here so that you can see how Rolando does it. It's quite amazing how they do it. We just go here and then, so it should start now. It's their mobile site, of course. You see that I went to the category man. You know, I go to shoes and boots, and you see already here there's some quick filters, very usable on the mobile site. You can, you know, have a very usable table for different sizes. Again, some quick filters, amazing pictures. You click on it, and again, here's some pictures where you get, you know, inspired and can add everything to your bag or to your cart. So super easy to buy stuff and to find all the information. So really well done. And of course, they are named as one of the best class examples in the playbook as well. So,
yeah, this is what I was telling you about. Rolando runs so smoothly on mobile that you don't need any desktop to actually read and find products.
Now I need to click here and screen share. Okay. So let's move then to the next slide.
Thank you, Christina, who is helping us.
Yes.
Yeah, think about platforms when entering or working inside of e-commerce industry. Because in future, we need not just one strategy for our website, we also need platform strategies. And I think this is your topic where you can speak a lot, because I know you had really interesting speech about it in Bremen, and we got really positive feedback out of it. So yeah.
Yeah, just about, like, you know, if you consider social media, especially for, you know, this goes back from your website or your e-commerce shop, but if you consider you know, social media for e-commerce, it has high potential, especially Instagram and Facebook. And we have some figures which says that, you know, 60% of all millennials already, you know, buy.
Yeah, this can be a topic for a webinar itself.
But this is more, I mean, this is our last part of the webinar. We are done then, but this is more kind of a glimpse into the future, you know, and just like a recommendation to, you know, already think about those platforms and think about strategies for those and test. So I think that we as SEOs and we as marketers need to focus in future more, you know, the relevance of websites will go away. And we need to focus much more on different platforms and different strategies for platforms. Like voice assistants are already on the rise, and we will have more millions of voice devices in the market by 2024. So it's and I don't know, did you read the figure now for Amazon? They sold another 100 million just for Christmas. So it's not really an hype anymore. It's starting to be something which we are using in our
and voice assistants are also entering, yeah.
Exactly, and it's expanding to other devices as well. When I've been to our San Francisco office in the beginning of the year, so we went bowling, and I saw on TV ad actually from it was a Nissan or something, which they integrated already an Amazon Alexa in the car, and this is the Kia who integrated the Google Assistant in the car. So we will have in our cars much more assistants, be it Google, Amazon, or what you have, Cortana, and there are also already fridges and ovens which you can buy, which have a voice assistant integrated. So meaning
you
that
can see in Germany, I saw one in the market.
You saw it already?
Yeah, I saw it in the market where you have a camera inside, and you can use your voice assistant and your mobile phone, so it's complete IoT.
Yeah. And it's super cool because if you think about it, you will be, the whole environment we are in our daily life will be, with voice assistance, so that you don't need to have a mobile phone in your hand anymore. You don't need to, open up your laptop and,
you can ask your fridge how much milk do you have inside of it.
Exactly, and you can order.
Which is amazing.
And you can order.
And you can then order. Yeah.
But I think for voice assistant, especially for shopping, especially for fashion, especially for stuff which which is a bit more complicated, you still need to have some screens where you can see the stuff, and that's the reason why Amazon and Google also have their screens, founded as well, because that's actually the problem. I have an Amazon Alexa at home, and if I want to buy something on Amazon, sometimes there are descriptions or titles for specific products which I have no clue what they mean. So I need to actually see it. And what they do now, I have a Fire TV as well. They can actually mirror it on the Fire TV, or they can mirror it within the app so that you can see whatever you have. So this in combination will definitely dominate e-commerce when it comes to voice search from my perspective. And another really interesting thing, and this is what I said in the beginning, is 60%, and that's a study source you can click down there. 60% of the Generation Z are shopping on social media platforms. And this is especially for fashion, something which is almost as important as search. Because if you're on Instagram, you might know this Instagram fashion thing where you click on a picture and then it gives you the price. You click on the price and then you got redirected to website. In stories as well, etc. with PP, and Instagram has already product detail pages integrated in
Instagram is amazing. I think it's story by itself, and we should definitely dedicate some other webinar to it. But visual shopping is the most common. So I think Instagram tells the story, but also I want to relate to our previous story. If you have pictures that are not quality enough, you cannot convince anyone to buy it. It's simply, I know a lot of websites, especially when they sell furniture or something, they have low quality pictures that don't look really nice. You will not convince anyone to buy. This is the thing. And this is why Instagram is so successful, because of their filters, because of the communication and story and feeling, how you make you feel when you see, for example, on the right side, this beautiful dress.
Definitely. And then there's another stat as well where, 62%, and this is like we're going into the future here. 62% of Generation Z and millennial consumers want visual search capabilities more than any other new technology. And this is actually going into visual search. And if you know the, cooperation between Amazon and Snapchat, this is where it's going to be. On Snapchat, I can actually do a photo of your shoes, and it gives me the product recommendation on Amazon where I can buy it then within the platform. This is pretty amazing, and this is just the beginning. With Google Lens, there's already a thing where you can shop online. It's going to be more and more evolving, and this is the way how we search and how we will buy stuff online in future.
And I think this is really good, because most of the time you're ashamed to ask someone, where did you buy this beautiful jacket or something? And imagine if you can just take a look at the picture and find everything that you need online without asking anyone.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. And last but not least, this is the last slide just to give you a future glimpse from China, our dear friends in China, where you have a virtual reality, class where you can shop at Macy's. And I need to jump here to this time. You see that the guy is wearing a virtual reality glass and is going into the biggest, it's in China, the biggest Macy's store in the world.
So he is not really in the store. For people who don't understand the story, he's wearing something probably similar to Oculus Rift, sitting in his home and going through the store that he wants to shop.
And now he's picking up a handbag and gets all the information, price, etc., some 360 animation for the bag, and can actually compare, call his wife, do you want this, etc. So it's pretty amazing what the future will look like, especially for e-commerce.
Yeah, it's slowly becoming our present time, and I think it may, for someone, it may look like a Black Mirror TV show, which I personally adore, but definitely I think that this is our future, because this is something that we can easily do without going to shopping when we need to see and feel and get more experience. And I think for e-commerce, getting this experience and getting this feeling for your customer and your buyers is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think so too. So, but we are done with this now.
Unfortunately. We enjoyed, I don't know, maybe we were boring for you. If you have any feedback, you can share it with us. If you didn't start watching our webinar from the beginning, then also you can find us later on YouTube. Maybe if you want to process it, because we try to give you a lot of information, I think, for the short period of time that we had. But Björn, you also prepared some key takeaways.
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, e-commerce shows still double-digit growth rates. So if you want to go into e-commerce now, it's still very high potential. The second one is digitalize your processes for more efficient.
This is something that we can definitely recommend. And also, you saw cases from Spring Lane and Zalando, and content investment for e-commerce is really, really important. And this is what sets you apart from the competition. And also, from SEO point of view, get the technical basics right and better to overtake the same competition.
And then, of course, focus on mobile and use Google's UX recommendation. Mobile is your main traffic driver, so you should definitely focus on it and go with the trends and test. Everything which is coming new now, voice assistant, virtual reality, and social media is something you really need to test. Don't
test it big. So you can pick a niche within your website and do the test, especially with the new things, but you learn from failures. And this is the most important thing.
But yeah, thank you very much. We are a bit longer than expected, so 8 minutes, but hopefully it was interesting for you. If you need help with your strategy overall, you can contact us on the searchmetrics.com/DSG. If you want to get in contact with us speakers on Twitter, Loco the Boo, my dear colleague Svetlana, and my name Björn Beeth. As you can see there, follow us on Twitter. We are quite active. And if we have any questions, then we could start with questions. No questions, then happy lunch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for staying with us. And don't forget to watch our next webinar in the series, which is called Battle for Publishers. Within
digital advertising is dead.
Yeah, I didn't invent this title, but yeah. Definitely, not only if you're a publisher, if you also work in e-commerce or you work in any other industry and you want to improve your content marketing strategy and learn from the failures and success of publishing industry, then stay tuned for our next webinar.